Racial segregation dominated life in South Africa in the early 1960s. The system of apartheid categorized people into groups including black, white and colored, with white people being the most privileged. When the man leading the struggle against apartheid was sentenced to life imprisonment, it became the main event of 1964. Nelson Mandela would spend 27 years in jail before becoming South Africa's first democratically elected president, a Nobel Peace Prize recipient, and an international hero. Rolihlahla Nelson Mandela was born at Mvezo in the Eastern Cape on July 18, 1918. His primary school consisted of 2 rondavels and a hut in Kunu, a tiny rural village where Mandela states that he spent the happiest moments of his childhood. Determined to become a lawyer, Mandela moved to Johannesburg, where he started studying for a Bachelor of Law. But politics also took his interest, and he joined the African National Congress in 1942. When the Nationalist Party won the South African general election in 1948, the era of official apartheid began. Non-whites were removed from electoral rolls, residence and mobility laws were tightened, and political activities restricted. In response, the ANC launched a campaign for the defiance of unjust laws. Elected to National Volunteer-in-Chief, Mandela traveled the country, organizing resistance. He continued practicing as a lawyer, but was the victim of various forms of repression, including arrests, imprisonments, and an attempt by the Transvaal Law Society to strike him off the roll of attorneys. Initially committed to non-violent mass struggle, Mandela began to change his views in 1960, when South African police shot at a crowd of black protesters in Sharpeville. Following the massacre, the ANC was outlawed, and Mandela was forced to go underground.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people. And I think the time has come for us to consider, in the light of our experiences in this stay at home, whether the methods which we have applied so far are adequate.
In 1961, Mandela became the leader of the ANC's armed wing, Umkhonto we Sizwe. He coordinated a sabotage campaign against military and government targets and made plans for a possible guerrilla war. In 1962, Mandela left the country unlawfully and traveled abroad for several months. On returning to South Africa, he was arrested and charged with illegal exit from the country and incitement to strike. Convicted of the charges, he was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. While serving his sentence, he was charged in the Rivonia trial with sabotage. The sentence handed down was life imprisonment. Mandela was sent to the notorious Robben Island, a maximum security prison 7 kilometers off the coast from Cape Town. While he was in jail, Mandela stood by his principles, refusing offers of freedom in return for renouncing his political views. He became a potent symbol of resistance and gave the other prisoners strength. In 1989, Frederick de Klerk was elected president. He began engineering the end of apartheid and supported the transformation of South Africa into a multiracial democracy. The next year, Nelson Mandela was released from prison to a joyful welcome. He soon returned to work at the now lawful African National Congress. In April 1994, the first free elections open to all South African citizens were held. The ANC won over 62% of the popular vote. Nelson Mandela was elected president. A symbol of both hope and struggle, Nelson Mandela is an international hero whose sentence to life imprisonment became the main event of 1964.